Quake Pro League continues as we move on now to our next game of the night, CNZ versus vengeurR. This was one of Dan's dastardly picks at the top of the show. How are you feeling now we've got to this point? Is this potentially still going to take the cake, or has something overthrown it?
Thinking back at the series, I still think Dramis to Hang is still my favourite series of the day so far, by a long shot.
Okay.
I do still have high hopes for this, though, as Dan's dastardly picks.
Good. I feel like we'll come up with a proper branding for it. We'll get a little jingle made. It'll be great.
All right.
We'll turn it into a spin-off show. And you can have your own animated character, and you'll have a sidekick with a dog. I'll be the dog.
What's the dog's name?
Jeff Rod.
Jeff Rod?
Jeff Rod.
All right, you've had that prepared, it feels like.
Yeah. Well, CNZ, definitely someone that can provide us with a whole lot of exciting Quake action on the server. As you said, some people compare him to a bit more of a mini base at times, but I feel like in terms of his own character, he's got a whole lot more to prove, and this is the stage now finally set for him to do so, right?
Yeah, I think so. And it'd be, again, a perfect example for me of how he can adapt, because last week, I think he came out swinging against base and showed him who's boss, but vengeurR is altogether completely polar opposite type of style to base. So if CNZ can adapt to that, handle the pressure that vengeurR likes to put out, then I think we've got someone on our hands that's going to cause a bit of worry to the people at the top of the leaderboard.
Yeah, with the drummer boy music in the background. He's going to be coming into this one ready to bang the drum and do some damage on the server. But only time will tell if that is going to work out in his favour or if his opponent, the high-flying, jabroni-beating, pie-eating people's champion himself, vengeurR, is going to be able to overthrow. Someone that I feel like a lot of people just enjoy watching, Dan, because of the style of play that this madman brings out.
Yeah, Kid Bellissimo, you know? Yeah, he just loves to brawl. He loves to fight. He's got really, really solid aim with every single one of the weaponry. And his decision making and overall dueling capabilities just get better and better and better. So it's just, he's the type of player that nobody wants to play, because when you have someone that hits so much, is able to play as fundamentally sound as him, it's always going to cause you problems.
Oh yeah, he's also one of those players that it's so hard to predict him, because he can be just so unpredictable, right? Like one day he'll turn up and be doing a bit of this.
Right, yeah.
One day he turn up, he does a little bit of that. You never know. Is he going to be tap dancing? Is he going to be beatboxing? He's a man of many talents.
I love him. Yeah, great kid.
He is indeed. So hopefully we get a little bit of that when we get into the matchup. For now though, let's get into the picks and bans, because the VOs decide a lot. Dan, for you, based off what we've got on screen here, who are you favouring?
It's a pretty, I guess, bog standard lineup across the board. Like with Corrupt to Keep, Blood Run, Blood Covenant, that's what you would have seen on day one of Quake Champions release. So everyone's going to be happy. They should be super comfortable with what they got in front of them. I know firsthand that Corrupt to Keep is very strong for vengeurR. He loves to get in your face. He loves to put on the pressure. So what CNZ said to that, my friend? He said, I'm going to pick a BJ. You want to run at me? You want to do damage? I'll just flick on my ability and do twice as much as you. So there we go. Blood Run, that's the kind of home map of CNZ. Picked up the Visor. We've seen Visor a lot today. So strong. Oh, yeah. But the Nyx, if you can use that Ghost Walk effectively, you can pick up the Vials as well. It is, whilst it's a counter to one another, I have to favour still probably CNZ just on that map, and then finishing it up with a Blood Covenant, and we've got the Slash versus the Eisen. Just hearing those champion picks, I am fearing a little bit for the Eisen on the map. I just can't see how he's going to handle Slash.
You know what? Seeing this, for me now, I'm going to go vengeurR. I feel like he's going to come out swinging the entire way to start the series, and we've literally got the yin and yang matchup as well that suits their archetype so perfectly as well, obviously with Visor on one side and then vengeurR on the other side on Nyx. It's all coming together for me to be a potential trio.
I'm going to say 2-1 to vengeurR.
Okay.
I do feel the Blood Run's going to just drop in the side of CNZ, but yeah, apart from that, unless he has a really big game with the BJ, I don't think he's going to overcome the Struggle Pika of vengeurR. The one thing to note is that vengeurR is not traditionally someone who plays the crouch sliding champions, and so it's a bit of a question mark for me of how well can he do on them. That's the big thing. Is he playing them because he knows the strength of them in this current meta, or is he playing them because he wants to practice them for something bigger down the line? There's a lot of question marks lying over this matchup because of that.
No, that's very true. It's also one where it'll hopefully give us a lot of answers as well, because if he comes in and he looks like he's been very well prepped on them, it's definitely a hero pool that I feel like having those champions available to you will play into his playstyle so much. So hopefully it's a trick that he has well prepared. To start it off though, CNZ does find the opening frag early on into this one as he does overthrow vengeurR. Takes a little bit more damage than he's comfortable with though, so we'll back off. However, vengeurR, he looks like he might try and really commit into the fight on this one.
Absolutely, but CNZ's timing, positioning has been good so far. Able to pick up that Mega relatively uncontested. vengeurR does push in. Ooh. Unexpected there. CNZ caught completely off guard. vengeur's just overall aggression. He should be following in now for the follow-up.
Doesn't know what to do with himself in that one. CNZ left incredibly low once again as well, straight back off the spawn. He is not having a good day here, as you've angered the beast that is vengeurR and unleashed him from his slumber, as now he starts to pop off down.
Important machine gun coming out there from CNZ. And that right there is something we haven't seen enough of today. Is very subtle, but jumping down, doing that long distance machine gun damage did enough to stall CNZ's pickup of the Mega that it got CNZ. Sorry, vengeur's pickup of the Mega that it got CNZ onto that heavy armor, and because of that, got him the kill. So small things like that show the level of expertise difference in Julian.
54 HP left here on the CNZ. He has to back off. He's going to try and heal himself slightly as he will get a little bit to work with. Slowly restocking himself. Better now as well as he finds the heavy, snatching that away. vengeurR, he's going to be the one looking worse for wear, and will get mopped up like a spilt drink.
And CNZ already learning from that first mistake. Completely aware of what vengeurR wanted to do in terms of rocket jumping up and going in with speed.
Big chase down as the Pika comes whizzing by.
Good. It's been really good uses of the Pika so far. Preemptive dual wield, wants to get out and do some damage with it. vengeurR manages to just get away. Does lose all his armor though.
Real pod racing vibes on display for the Pika. Here comes the push back in though. vengeurR weak under the pressure, broken by CNZ into that one, giving him a 2-frag advantage as he finally starts to get that momentum backing him. Moves off at just the wrong time. That's going to be the Mega taken by vengeurR. He couldn't afford to hang around and dilly-dally. Gets out of there, loses the Mega, at least gets himself the heavy, or the dangerous click as well down, as he didn't realise he had no rockets.
No, needs to try and get them. Incredible amount of damage coming out from CNZ though. vengeur's in a lot of trouble. Might have to use a Pika just to try and do some damage. Skirt CNZ away here.
Ooh. Burns his way through it, does get the follow-up frag. 5-2, and already it feels like the roles have been reversed a little bit. CNZ seems to be the one that's just commanding the game.
Until he misses 2 point-blank shotguns in a row, costing him his life and the heavy. And this game is just so back and forth, it's on a knife's edge at the moment.
Drop down with the LG, so much damage done, CNZ barely alive. The shotgun, even from quite a distance, will still work well as he gets the punishing shot off. 4-5 now. It's not much to try and drag vengeurR over the line and get this game tied up.
A little bit of a mistake there. vengeurR missing that light armor means he doesn't feel confident in pushing into the heavy, which is why we see CNZ get away with it pretty cleanly.
At least he's starting to have that stripped off of him early.
No, that's what I like about both these players. They're playing extremely smart. They're doing a lot of chip damage. And this is what I was saying before. We haven't seen enough today. Is a lot of players don't do enough in between major items, whereas these two are fighting well away from the major items.
Yeah, vengeurR making full use of his kit there as well. Pika play looking perfect as he sends that in. Starts to come around and backfiring off the warning rockets. There's a fair bit of damage. It'll be the LG and the full frontal assault though as he looks to try and get another kill and capitalize here. They're both on fairly similar stacks. Switching out to the shotgun. They're keeping their distance between each other. vengeurR finds the light and the fight starts to die down.
And they're both making sure that they're consistently doing enough damage that neither one ever had a stronger hold on this match just yet.
Stopwatch.
5-5. vengeurR goes in for the aggression, the rocket to the face as he starts to turn the corner. So much damage done as he's getting those spams out and blows him to bits.
Yeah, it does feel that CNZ maybe needs to be staying on the high ground a little bit earlier before just standing on that heavy. A couple of times now he's been lucky that vengeurR hasn't hit those rockets until then. I'm really enjoying the use of the Pika though.
Yeah. Oh no, it's been very smart. The moments and when he's had to use it, he's used it so well. And when he's realised he can just stick to his guns and set up CNZ on a date with the coroner, he's been doing a very good job of that as well.
And it's the first time in this game where anyone's really had a clean stack, so CNZ needs to do something big.
Oh, well that's a direct that's going to stop him from really getting any confidence at all. vengeurR then follows it up with a further rocket to blow him to bits. The spawn comes back in. No. It's really not the best position to be in for CNZ, as at least he's grabbing some items on the way out. But this is a struggle then.
Does a lot of damage nevertheless, manages to bully vengeurR away from that. Great positioning from vengeurR. CNZ, however, does come away relatively cleanly and gets a kill as well.
They really want to give us a game here. And they are keeping it neck and neck pretty much the entire way through. CNZ not too far off from being able to equalise the scoreline. He's still got time as well. We're not too far gone just yet. He can try and maintain. Oh, but the struggle is, even when he pops this and has the akimbo weapons to play with, he was on the back foot, but it won't matter. The spawn timing of the Mega saves his life, allows him to fully commit to the fight. The double LG will secure the kill as vengeurR goes down. He needs one more frag now, and he's still got 3 minutes to slay with.
But once again, both players, when they've been on the defense so far, have taken up these very strong positions to deal lots and lots of damage to stop the aggression coming out from either side. See vengeurR now on that high ground, making sure CNZ cannot get up there.
Rockets raining down like the hell salvo, hoping to get the connections with them. Looks for the back door as well as he sets himself up with a rocket jump. Oh, it's an awkward back and forth.
vengeurR's rockets just doing enough to keep CNZ at bay. He's really low here. They both could die. Great use of the Pika once again.
Yeah, very well executed. This man is an RC pilot champion in the making, as he does so much work with it. CNZ as well, straight back in. He had nothing off the spawn. Was hoping that he might get lucky with the super shotgun to try and lay vengeurR to rest, but no, it's not to be. Oh, and now he's getting a taste of his own medicine. The buckshot to the face.
This is really last chance for CNZ now. He did a lot of damage there, meaning he can actually continue to push onto vengeurR. See CNZ being ultra aggressive in these last few minutes. He should be able to get a kill here.
He does escape. I don't know if he's
Still
going to be able to stay alive,
if he
though.
wants to zone. And just decides to slither himself away, but doesn't get it.
Alright, well CNZ, basically 1 minute and 10 left now to still have to pick up quite a few frags if he wants to find himself back in the game. He will have that dual wield up in about 1 second, so it's not the worst thing in the world, but he needs to really chain these frags together, one after another. He has to get this kill now. This fight has to go his way. He's trying to force it as an issue, but vengeurR is just running, and it looks like he's going to get out of there as well, Dan. If he doesn't find it soon, it's basically going to be the game set in stone because he just can't get the kill.
No, he can't. But he still does have a chance if he gets it now. vengeurR is incredibly low. He just needs a few tickles of LG, but he sneaks away into the corridor, meaning he is slightly safe. He knows exactly what CNZ's movement patterns are. Where is he going to be coming from? He gets himself to the other side of the map and now is safe temporarily.
Yeah, vengeurR, he's pretty much done it at this point. It's going to be going his way. There's no chance. 15 seconds left. CNZ can't clutch it out at this point going forward. That is going to be an 11-8 victory for vengeurR on the opening map, as this is proving to be vengeur's keep.
Stopwatch.
Great game.
Lose.
The one thing that I was particularly impressed about, there were a number of things in that game I was particularly impressed about, but one of the bigger things was just the weapon choice throughout the game. that each player knew exactly which weapons to choose for which fights or which distance to deal maximum amount of damage, which then led into the fact that they had great positioning and were just consistently chipping away and on top of their opponent throughout. So nobody ever had a solid foundation, a solid strangle on that map to pressure their opponent. It was consistently back and forth, and it wasn't generally fights around major items, it was fights in between, tracking where the opponents was going to be, catching them in choke points, and if they're out in the open, making sure they're consistently chipping away throughout. And so that was a really good example for both players of how to play this map.
Yeah, the willingness to commit to fights was pretty nice to see. A lot more ferocity on display just in this one game alone than what we've had in quite a few of our series tonight. So bodes well for how this is going to go in the next two maps between CNZ and vengeurR. CNZ as well, quite surprising. Obviously a map that forces him to play a little bit more out of his shell, a little bit more out of his comfort zone. But he was the one that came in looking like the dominant force in the early portion of the game.
Yeah, and as we said, he's an amazingly versatile player, and I think we saw that he's actually incredibly aggressive. Like, any opportunity he had, he was popping that dual wield and trying to push. He never wanted to let vengeurR get comfortable. And to his credit, despite the fact that vengeurR was the one playing technically the faster champion, CNZ was the one taking the pace to the map. But there was a couple of great Pika kills that got him out of trouble as well. So all credit to vengeurR for that.
Yeah, some big damage done there from vengeurR as he will walk away as the victor on that one. It was his map pick, and these are the map stats for our opening game in the series as well.
And we can say, you can see how even it was. The biggest differential was the fact that CNZ generally got the heavies, but what vengeurR did exceptionally well was keeping that pressure on whenever CNZ wanted to do that. Likewise, CNZ always made a presence in and around when vengeurR was getting the mega health as well, so extremely even map all around.
Yeah, it was close stuff. It gave us a nice opening map here, and it does make this series look like it's definitely going to be a close one rather than a bit of a whitewash, which is nice.
Yeah, for sure.
Does go in the way of vengeurR as the opening pick. I expected this to be a series for vengeurR. In my mind, I felt like he was going to come out swinging and really dominate. However, that looked a whole lot closer than what I expected. So the next two maps could actually be toughies.
I think so. But it's they're pretty, as we said, they're pretty traditional maps for both players. I don't expect any. I generally don't expect any whitewashes in the next two matches. I think it's going to be equally close. As I said, the last map was Blood Covenant with the slash. I do favour vengeurR on that, but I think going into this Blood run with the Visor versus the Nyx, I'm leaning towards Visor. After everything I've seen today, I think the Quake scene is evolving to a point where now Visor is being perfected, and for me, Piercing Sight is just perhaps the most important ability in Quake Champions as a professional jeweler, in my opinion.
It's also one of those where having what is essentially the yin and yang matchup between these two champs, it's how well you use your Ghost Walk to completely negate that Visor. That is going to be the real test of time to see if vengeurR is able to use it correctly each and every time.
Exactly, and the vials are far more spread out on this map. It's slightly easier to monopolize and really control the vials on the Blood Covenant than it is on Blood Run, so that evens it out slightly. But as we can see, the fact that he was able to get the extra vials meant the Piercing Sight was up a good 5 seconds before the Ghost Walk, and at this level, that is all you need. The important thing is he didn't have to pop the Ghost Walk, however I thought he did.
He does have that advantage right now. CNZ, 25 seconds left until he has his vision back up. A lot of damage done though. He's definitely been poking and prodding vengeurR with a hot poker to leave his mark on him so far throughout the match. But it's very early doors, only a minute into the game, so things definitely change, although that flick was nice.
Both very low though. vengeurR will be brave to get up and get out of there, and he does. Still got the Ghost Walk.
If he needs it to escape, he can use it, and he will do just that.
Tactful opening here in the first 2 minutes from both players, chipping away at the rail before they push in. Nobody wanting to overcommit, trading major items. vengeurR definitely on the receiving end for most part though.
Yeah, Hourglass is down below. One of them going to be grabbed there by the mitts of CNZ, allowing him to have that visor whenever he wants it. Ghost Walk isn't up for another 2 seconds as well, so this could get awkward if he decides to pop it. Looks like he's going to, just in the nick of time. Finds the opening shot, the initiate with the rocket. However, his stack's not looking great, Dan.
No, not at all. vengeurR did well there. Dropped just at the right time that CNZ did not have a chance to react after popping the piercing sight. You can see as soon as there's a few seconds where you're a little bit uncertain of where your opponent is, you just pop it immediately.
Ooh. Railed at the face as he drops back down. He has no rail ammunition himself either as well, so this does starve out CNZ a little bit, makes it much more awkward. He also has the worst stack out of the two. And he's just holding, just playing his angles right now, trying to hold a bit of a curt angle.
Yeah, CNZ fortunate that the Ghost Walk wasn't up there because it could have been an aggressive push in. vengeurR knowing what CNZ is up to. And he does use it aggressively as soon as it's up. Great play by vengeurR there.
It's a nice way to get the opening pick on the board. It's the first kill of the game as well. Ooh, almost a swift damage being dealt. As the railgun comes out to play, it wants to say hello, and it will do just that, waving its way onto vengeurR. CNZ Bravo, as he's the one firing it out. 2 swift rockets as well. vengeurR 2-0 now, and a free heavy pickup. Just to add insult to injury, CNZ, another frag going the way of vengeurR as he runs into this lunatic straight off the back of the spawn.
But clever play from CNZ. Realizing vengeur's got a little bit greedy to try and steal away the light armor and just chasing in to grab that mega health, and that's critical because you don't want the Knicks to get too stacked. Coming back at him. As we saw, there was just a couple of minutes there where vengeurR got a good hold of a couple of major items and was able to put a lot of pressure onto Visor, so equalizing things, taking Knicks back to starting stack means vengeurR now needs to be slightly more careful than he's been playing so far.
Thing is, at least he's got the extra 2 frags, so he can afford to try and take it slow. He can just try and avoid if he wants to. For CNZ now, this finally comes through a whole lot more into what we were talking about at the opening of this game, of how much it relies on his visor, because this is the only way he's actually going to have the read on where vengeurR is exactly.
Exactly. He kind of knows where vengeurR is, so there isn't a need to pop it just yet. He's not in a position to make a move anyway, so he's just tracking vengeurR with sound cues. As soon as he gets onto the high ground, that's a better opportunity to use the piercing sight. As soon as he gets up onto that high ground, he pops it, because now he can move on in. vengeurR, understanding the situation, manages to escape. You can see the difficulty on this map, even with 2 frags behind, trying to track down and get your opponent is always a nightmare. And as it is with the Knicks, essentially got 2 lives. You need to, for one, get rid of that Ghost Walk, and then you've got to finish them off.
vengeurR really just keeping his distance between CNZ right now. CNZ looking like he's starting to get a little bit antsy. He's firing out the warning shots, finally uses the visor as well, so now he has the read, the all-knowing information, as he can see his way through and spot out where exactly vengeurR is.
Yeah, I think vengeurR was near enough just to hear that as well, so there's a good chance he understands now he's got a good 30 seconds or so free reign of the map. But he's quite happy for CNZ to pick up all these major items, because he's just, again, look at these choke points. He's just playing the choke points, making sure that if CNZ's going to push in, CNZ's going to take damage.
Ooh, big commit around the corner.
Ghost Walk is still up, so he's going to hold it to the very last second if he's going to use it at all, which he should do any second.
That's his only opportunity to escape. And CNZ, he's used his vision, so this should be the opportunity for him to use it to try and delay. Instead, though, he gets away and keeps it up. So this has gone perfectly for vengeurR. Somehow, he survives that entire time. He starves out every last bit of utility from CNZ. But that's not the best situation, though. At least CNZ's been able to get the mega.
He's so difficult. CNZ, so difficult. He's just going to back off. take away the rest of the map and hopefully trying to pressure him out. But once again, Ghost Walk is up. So is Piercing Sight though.
He has the sight. Will he spot him? Turns the corner, looks to try and land the flick. That's going to be the heavy picked up as well to give him more armor so he can take more hits. But he needs to be the one dealing the hits out right now. He might have control, Dan, but it doesn't matter.
And I think that use of the Piercing Sight was way too early. He should have waited to engage, forced out the Ghost Walk and used it to follow up, because now, once again, he has to wait to get his ability back up before he can afford to press.
Luckily the hourglasses will make his life a whole lot easier, as it does come back up much quicker than you would have had to wait it otherwise. But still, 2 kills with not too much time left. We hit the 8-minute mark. Things are going to get a bit dicey. vengeurR finally uses his Ghost Walk, but he's the one with the better damage on the outcome and still manages to get away.
Yep, vengeurR is not leaving that high ground. There's so many corridors and escape opportunities. He's just tracing around from that super nail gun room through round heavy. Hasn't left it because this is his only real escape. Just playing the corners. And there's honestly not much CNZ can do without his Piercing Sight up. However, there is a 15 seconds now before the Ghost Walk. He does get some vials, so it's back up already. Oof, that hurts.
Yeah, that's not great. This actually could set him up to finally get another frag and make it a 2-3 split, although Ghost Walk was up, surely. He's got away.
But he has to chase. It's not up.
Oh, he's found him. He's got the rail, Dan. He's left him low. He's limping, trying to chase him as he turns the corner with the shotgun, but he's delayed. The back rocket to slow him down. The bear miss with a rail as well, just in the nick of time. He gets through the portal, starving out CNZ for so long. So there's sub 60 seconds left into the game, and he still hasn't been able to bring it back into a 2-3. This is so awkward. He might actually go down here as well.
Yeah, vengeurR managed to get in and steal that mega health. That really hurts. There's virtually nothing CNZ can do now. He has to just push in here. This is his only chance. But that rocket is an absolute killer.
Even then, if he would have got the kill at 9 minutes 30, there was still a slight, albeit very minimal, but slight chance that he would have been able to chase him down and get a further frag to make it a 3-3 split.
So many pixels.
At this point, it's as good as done. vengeurR, he wasn't content with just map 1, winning it on his keep. Instead, he wants to follow up as well. He wants to be able to take this as a 2-0 so far, and that's the way it's going to go. The Nyx comes out on top over the visor as vengeurR takes the first 2 maps by storm.
And you can see why Nyx is probably one of the most banned champions in the game.
Yeah.
All you need is a 1 frag advantage, and if you play her well, there's almost no comeback. Admittedly, Blood Run is probably the hardest game to make a comeback on because of the dynamics and layout of the game, of the map. But nevertheless, like vengeurR played that to perfection, and CNZ himself played it pretty much to perfection as well. Just couldn't get in and engage when he wanted to.
Well, that's the thing. Like, the real meat and potatoes of the game was when we got into the last couple of minutes, and there were so many opportunities where it was like, right, this is it. This is where he's going to bring it back in. He fully commits into a fight, and somehow vengeurR just evades him.
Yep. And the real defining factor of that game was the offensive, crazy smart use of that Ghost Walk up in the super shotgun room. And then by that point, because it was such a clean kill, vengeurR had a significant stack and was able to bully CNZ off the map. After that though, CNZ did get a good comeback and then just couldn't track down vengeurR. There was a few times I felt that he might have used his Piercing Sight a bit preemptively, could have taken a bigger risk and just jumped in blind and used it to follow up after he hit a good rocket, but nevertheless, he did what he felt was good in the moment. vengeurR played with absolutely nothing, like 3 and 4 to the 13 and 15. That's just crazy.
Yeah.
But the fact is, it doesn't matter if you're playing with nothing if your opponent can't hit you.
Well, that's the thing. You can have all the control in the world, but if you haven't got the kills when the 10 minutes are up, that's what matters.
Exactly.
That's where the game's going to be decided at.
And it wasn't like CNZ was just playing the basics and rotating the items. Like, there was times that he was leaving it up, going to chase. vengeurR wasn't going to touch them. vengeurR didn't care about the items. vengeurR was just playing what he needed to do. He was playing those corners, escaping, using the Ghost Walk really smartly, holding onto it generally until the last minute, because he knows if that's on cooldown, he's in trouble. So both players, I got strong praise there.
Yeah, I mean, well, that was the most crazy part, right? Basically, when he was just dancing behind the pillar the entire time, full use of the visor, it does nothing. He had the sight up, doesn't matter. Burnt it entire through, then walks away, still doesn't even use the ghost walk.
Yeah, and it's hard to play against the piercing sight because it's so difficult to hear when that's used. You have to be on your wits the entire time because you don't know when he can see you. You're playing that guessing game of can he see me? Does he know where I am? So your focus in those situations is very hard. And when we're talking about vengeurR being this hyper-aggressive, flashy player, to play 10 minutes like that shows you he's got a really versatile and rounded game now.
Oh yeah, he definitely has a whole lot when it comes to him sort of as a toolkit. He can play defensive, he can play slow, but he can also play that crazy style that we're known for with his signature spice so well. It's great. I think the development he's had as a personality and as a player is just through the roof.
Yeah, for sure. And he's come on leaps and bounds. I remember watching him last summer, and he's just a different player now. So really exciting to see where he can keep going from here.
Fight.
Well, let's see what he's going to do here, as this will be the third and final map between these two. And we're going to see if vengeurR can pick up a 3-0. If the 16 points have been able to grab his attention enough as we get back into the game.
I did say I was a bit fearful for CNZ on this map. I'm actually very interested to see how he manages the Ison. But then again, like we said at the very start of the game, not entirely sure how potent vengeurR is with Slash or with crouch sliding champions. Looks decent so far.
Yeah, I'm curious if this is like a new skill tree as a player that he wants to go down and invest time into to try and learn some more champions to add to his pool. It would be awesome to see him get a little bit more crouch slide into the mix.
And that right there is a perfect example of why crouch sliding champions are good for aggressive players. Because again, it is using the speed of the champion to get into position to hit these shots that many players might not be able to hit. So it's using speed for a positional advantage more than anything else, and then once you've capitalized upon your positional advantage, it's using the speed to finish the frag.
Ooh, wow. Alright. vengeurR's warmed up. He's trying to go for his flicks already as the railgun is coming out to decimate, but he's not able to hit the opener. Won't matter though, as his stack is already incredibly large.
Feels like, yeah. So at the minute, CNZ is using the turrets as an informational tool. He's put it on the low ground. He's maintaining the high ground. Kind of a zoning characteristic.
Yeah.
That's a really interesting take on playing Ison.
I mean, the thing is, the only times you actually really see Ison's turret actually get a frag is if someone's left so susceptible in such an awkward position. So using it that way, a little bit more of a denial or just to gain control, it's probably the ideal scenario for it at this point.
Putting it on the heavy armor and taking the mega, he probably used it as a timing. As soon as that turret dies, he knows it's within like a 3-second window of when that heavy is going to be picked up.
That's true. I suppose the tells you could get from it definitely could be beneficial.
Yeah, because he wasn't competing whatsoever, that's one possibility of why he was doing that.
Right now, there's only 2 seconds between the spawn times on the major items as well, so not too much of a chance for the quick rotations between them both. vengeurR definitely doing more damage here. They're getting more bang for his buck in the fights between CNZ, and that is going to be the jackpot found. Oh, did he follow up as well?
He can just push in here with his slash speed if he needs to.
Or just use the rail.
Or just do whatever he wants.
He's lethal, isn't he?
It's so tough playing a champion like Ison when you're on the back foot against a slash. Like, you have no get out clause if things aren't going your way. Absolutely none. At least with a heavy champion you can pick up some stacks and hold your ground, but with a medium champion it becomes really, really tough. Oh, just misaimed that.
Drifting slightly to the left. It's the old continental drift in play there.
Jackie's weather forecast.
Oh, vengeurR. They're going to try and make this one an absolute scorcher though as the lightning comes out. Oh!
Bing!
Good night, CNZ. 4 frags already, damn. Averaging basically a frag a minute at this point.
Yeah, and the way we saw vengeurR play in the last game, He knows how to defend, so missing the health though might come back to haunt him. Definitely needs to pick that up and fall onto it, which he does well. Misses the... Oh, he still misses the health though. Nice!
Oh, the amount of times he was going for those mid-airs there, the near misses, but it's the showstopper rail that will put CNZ to bed and continue this really quite dominant streak early on from vengeurR here.
He's also got time to pick up this Mega and he knows it, so CNZ's in trouble. CNZ's in a lot of trouble.
Oh man, he's so low. Nothing's going to stop vengeur's confidence here. Oh, the turret, mate! But that's the trail kill! Oh no!
That is quite honestly the best CNZ could have hoped for in that situation. Like, vengeurR was slightly foolish in pushing into that gap, but when you've got Plasma Trail up, I think he expected to whip past him, trap him in the Plasma Trail, and finish him off.
I suppose it's also how much stack he had as an advantage initially going into it. He thought he'd be pretty comfortable.
And as hard as it is now to catch vengeurR, this off the spawn is the hardest part of a light champion's life. You'd have no stack, you have no weapons, you can just get bullied. So I think if this goes cleanly, I definitely think he should be chasing with a rocket jump here.
Ooh.
Oh, he does, but he messes up the rocket jump, so he takes way more damage than he needed to. And great rockets to finish it off from vengeurR.
We're over the halfway point now as well. vengeurR straight back in, gets himself a mega health to play with. Not the biggest arsenal of weapons to try and do the damage with. Instead, both of them get left fairly low on HP and have to deviate from each other. They don't want to fully commit. That is the rail found as well. And vengeurR has looked ridiculously crisp with it all day, so you don't want to give him that weapon for free. Both of them go down to the sub 30 HP mark, but CNZ is the one that's quicker on the draw with LG, but there's the trade from the spawn, Dan.
Yeah, it's just trades all day. CNZ didn't actually pick up the heavy, which is probably the reason why he died. But again, vengeurR recognizing the opportunity, the fact that he could get there just in time, probably just wanted to deal damage, didn't expect CNZ to come charging through.
He's got the rail. He won't need it though. It's all about the rockets right now as he's looking to be rambunctious. Shotgun comes through, slams him back down to reality.
Feels a little bit that CNZ is not accustomed to playing to Slash on this map. He's been caught off by the speed a fair few times already, and that's again just a learning that this isn't a very common champion at the moment, and so it does show in CNZ's play. But vengeurR, we were saying, how good are you at these champions? Pretty damn good.
Oh yeah, it definitely plays to his strength so much. It's nice to watch. It's like we've got into a time machine. We've rolled back the years and we're seeing old school Tox.
Yeah, it does feel a bit that he does play a little bit like Tox, except he has much better rockets than Tox.
I also just think it's the confidence he has in himself. Like, no one takes a fight like vengeurR takes a fight, which is, it's weird how he does it, and it always seems to work in his favor.
It's true. Good rocket. I think vengeurR wants to drop.
He just wants to scrap, doesn't he?
He does. He loves the scrap. But big, what a rail. Realizing maybe I'm being naive here. Just backs off.
Oh, surely. The insult to injury on that one. You are going to be really quite furious about how this has gone, as vengeurR in double digits, just looking unbeatable. He fancied the mid-air, but it's always going to be the rail that works.
And as we feared in the introduction to this game, the pace. How is he still alive?
The confidence as well. He peaks with 8 HP. Oh, and he's still alive.
The pace of Slash and the pace of vengeurR's just been too much, particularly for Ison. For me, the Ison pick was quite bewildering, and I'm still struggling to see what the value is. There was obviously a game plan behind it. That game plan hasn't come to fruition.
vengeurR. I think he's basically just on the hunt now. It's kind of like Jaws. There is blood in the water.
Yeah.
And he's coming for it.
It's a perfect analogy, really. He's just toying with him a little bit.
CNZ's going to need a bigger boat.
Oi! That was nice. CNZ is saying, don't forget, I'm still good at this game.
Ooh. Alright, the LG's out. He's had enough of using the rail. He fancies using something a little bit new from his repertoire, and the LG is going to work very efficiently for him. Sending CNZ skyrocketing, finds his old faithful weapon as well on the rail, scraps that turret as he is not happy with the chaos it's been causing.
Practicing his flick rails.
Some big boy peaks. Denial trail as well. So there can be no real chase from CNZ. Not like it would matter at this point. I mean, we've got 30 seconds on the clock. Unless he's going to be able to find himself 10 frags in that time, it is done, and it is going to be taken by vengeurR. Oh.
I think we can put all the rumours of CNZ being defensive to bed as well.
He likes a fight.
He likes to scrap as well.
Both of them have been displaying that today. I think it's just the fact that vengeur's definitely had the edge. Oh, the shotgun finish? No. No special to tide us over on that one. But it will still be vengeurR locking down the series. Complete dominance the entire way through.
Yeah, I was really impressed. 43% lightning gun, only 40% rail, but he did just miss about 20 rails in a row at the end.
Yeah.
His aim was phenomenal. He played Slash like a true pro. And it was just the speed and aggression, really, that took that game away from CNZ. We saw all sides of vengeurR throughout this series. The blood run was phenomenal. I felt that the first map was a lot of fun to watch. They both like to scrap, they both like to brawl. Yeah, but ultimately we saw the raw power and mechanical skill of vengeurR come into play here.
Just on a whole nother level when it came down to his self-confidence in a lot of these fights, and I feel like that really shined through. The flicks were beautiful, rockets were on point today, the rails were so dominant, the lightning gun as well. Everything in his arsenal that he wanted to wield, he was wielding such a high caliber that there were just not much that CNZ could do against him.
No, but I mean, like, rewatching these highlights, you can see how close it was for those first 3 or 4 frags.
Yeah.
That vengeurR was getting away with minuscule amounts of health and armor, and it was only after that, when vengeurR really took a strangle of the map, that he ran away with it. So again, it looks far worse in terms of scoreline than in reality it was.
There's a timeline there in the first few minutes of the game where it definitely could have swung in favour of CNZ, but
yeah,
the longer it went on, it was just the more control that vengeurR found, and just, I don't know, the more outrageous and outlandish plays he felt comfortable going for, that at the end of the day were just backed up by how precise he is when it comes to his aiming. So he does win it in the end. We do have the stats for that map on the board though. 15-5 for vengeurR. What a top dog.
Yeah, but you could see that it was a very even game. Not much to choose between the two of them in terms of item pickups. It was a close game until about 7 or 8 frags in. And only then did vengeurR take away with it. And CNZ did throw lots of frags away, so yeah, good game.
Yeah, moving on to the series stats as well. 29 frags across the board there for vengeurR, making it look minuscule with a 15 that we saw CNZ pick up, because vengeurR, he was just on a bit of a tear when he got let off the leash.
He was. And you can take the difference in pickups with a little bit of salt due to the discrepancy that was Blood Run,
yeah,
where vengeurR just didn't even make a presence on centre map. But nevertheless, CNZ can walk away with his head held high, I think. It might not feel like that, but he can definitely, he's done himself proud.
Yeah, the scoreline across the board, even just with the frags alone, doesn't really telegraph how close it was as the series, really. There was definitely moments where it could have gone either way. I mean, vengeurR definitely locked it down at points,
yeah,
but CNZ still had a good display. It seems like there is improvement there still.
100%. And it's like we said, CNZ's been around for a while, but being around for a while and participating at the highest level are two entirely different things. And every stage of the Quake Pro League is a learning experience. You'll take something away from it, develop yourself, and reflect. So I definitely think he can come back even stronger and get into the top ranks once again.
Yeah, well, let's see what's coming up after the break, though, as we still have more to come today. Zron versus Kilson. You are going to know these names, and you are going to be excited to see them. Dan, are you pumped for this one?
I am pumped for this one. I think it's always a pleasure to watch Kilson, and I think Zron is one of the smartest players around. Beating Razy last week shows he's no slouch. Top 10 in the world confirms that for me. He's got it all, but ultimately Kilson is number one, and he's number one for a reason.
Oh yeah, Kilson, Obviously, right now, really just trying to build his legacy, as he already has his name inscribed on the belt, and he's going to hope to try and get a whole lot more to come. You won't want to miss it, as Kilson is going to have his claws out once he gets into that matchup. But that will be after the break. For now, we're going to take some time out, refresh ourselves before we get involved with an exhilarating matchup after the break.